Hey.
Hey.
Atlanta fans, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? Thank you for joining our show. How are you doing, Boss Diva?
I am well. I'm doing good. I can't complain. I would when nobody listen, so.
Rick, how you doing, brother?
Man, I am blessed and highly favored, young man. I'm blessed and highly favored.
So, did you go to those? What was that? You talked about some festivals last week. Was that last weekend? Look like you didn't go. You didn't go?
Go.
Baby, that was you and your baby Valentine.
I know, but I was just in a mood. I just went in the mood. So we didn't go.
Ricardo, did you do anything fun last weekend?
Not fun, constructive. Always a good time with my namesake and my beloved. So, yeah. Kept it quiet.
I went to a cookout. I wore my Outcast Hawks jersey and some Hawks Jordans. I think they call Red Fusions. Some Hawks Jordans. Shout out to my fellow sneakerheads out there. And so it was a real nice kickback, and it was right here in my neighborhood. So I didn't have to go far, and I didn't know it was that many people in my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So it was a nice little kickback, and the food was great, the drinks were great, and we had some great conversations. So I enjoyed that. What we got going on for this next weekend? What we got coming up, Ricardo?
Well, for me, I'm trying to. We're actually still working as WeDat. We're still working on. The first, I guess, deal went through in terms of, and we'll talk about that a little later. We're actually also in talks with another network about a possibility of future. With lawyers, crossing your T's and dotting your I's. We're looking good in terms of the business acumen. WeDat is growing. We had over 1,000 viewers last week, and we thank each and every one of them.
We appreciate it. We needed every single one of those views.
Right. I'm back tonight.
You can streaming across the screen, our YouTube channel, our Twitter. Follow us on all that. If you want to rewatch it, go on YouTube and rewatch it. And we'll have an announcement that's coming up at the end of the show. But we can go ahead and say now, hey, Dallas. Hey,
Dallas.
What's up, Dallas?
So thank you. And it expands our footprint, which is good because we got some stuff to talk about that has to do with the SEC in Texas. For me this weekend, I'm going out to Vegas.
Okay.
Going out for a wedding of a friend who actually was a widower, single dad, and I mean, great guy. He was raising the kids that he had with his wife and kids that his wife had previous to him before she passed. And so he was just such a good guy. And so you like pray, hope things work out for him. He is marrying a dynamite lady. I mean, so I'm great that he's finding love again. And it's a big weekend, and we're going to enjoy ourselves out in Vegas. So, of course, my mom had to come over and run through the security system and all that stuff, get her fingerprint added to the door, which actually could have been done from her house, but
okay,
they
technology.
But thank you, Mama, for taking care of the kids and the house. So thank you. We'll be back and everything. Hope everything be intact. So what we got on the trending topics, Diva?
Oh, where should we start? So first of all, let's talk about Kanye. Let's get into your boy Kanye. So how interested are you all in this second listening party? You know, living at the Benz.
And for our viewers around the country, our our stadium that the Atlanta United, both our teams and the Falcons playing is the Mercedes-Benz Dome, and the only Mercedes-Benz Dome. There was another Mercedes-Benz Dome.
I don't know what you're talking. I never heard.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That was the C-class dome. That was the CLA class dome. No knock if you got a C-class. This is the real Benz. This is the real Benz. So, and Kanye has. You probably saw the reports of the listening party a couple of weeks ago, but he's been living there since that time.
What's up with that? What is that about?
Well, he's going through a time, and he's a creative.
When is he not?
Right. And here's the secret. Just like Puffy, nobody wants. Kanye is from Atlanta. I know Chicago. I know your Chicago people go jump in the thing.
Yeah, they are.
Kanye is from Atlanta.
They can have him
in Atlanta.
They can have him.
We don't want him.
We moved back to Chicago, but so
okay.
I'm glad he claimed Chicago.
That's fine.
Some of the antics, but so he's home. He's home, and so he's been locked into the dome and living there. So yeah. Anybody
get that baby some help? Like, can somebody find him a licensed therapist, please?
The first step is you have to admit you need help.
You got a problem.
I don't think we've made it to that point yet. So yeah. But we gonna see how this music comes out. I'm looking forward to the music. The people who have heard it, which are very few, have said it is fire, but all the people who have heard it and said it's fire are his friends.
I was gonna say, I think that's a matter of opinion. Because
So I wanna Gary said born in Atlanta, big difference. Yeah.
Right.
So we're gonna talk about born in Atlanta a little bit. So
okay.
I'll check it out when it comes out. I'm not gonna be running around, looking for it.
You just tell me how it sound. I ain't gonna worry about it.
Oh,
just let me know what you think. I'm straight. I'm good.
I have a love-hate thing for Kanye too. I can't stand the politics. I'm not crazy about the personality, but if you look at his body of work, he's up there with Dre. He's as far as production, he's first 3 albums I love. I think after all the 808s and all, I was kind of done with. But I get it. He's got the sound that people want to hear.
It seemed like he built some bridges with some of the people that have helped him be successful. So I'm looking forward to hearing.
I ain't touching that, Mr. Williams. I can't mess with that.
I'm not gonna touch that either. So,
right.
What else you got for us, Diva?
So listen, since we on sports and all this good stuff, so who do you all feel like is the biggest female sports fan, entertainer? Think. And I'll take all that because we ain't got
they're not an athlete themselves.
No, she just likes sports.
Oh, Rihanna.
Rihanna or Beyonce?
Yeah.
Rihanna.
Easy.
Yeah, Rihanna like all sports, and plus Beyonce is married. He can't like sports in the same way that Ree can like sports.
Right. Right. So speaking of Ree, somebody just became a billionaire up in this piece. Black girl magic in the house.
Listen, I want everybody to win, and it's cool that Rihanna loves sports, and her fans are like, "Where's the music coming?" Look at that checkbook, and then the way music is today, it's so much about streams than sales.
Right.
Why would you subject if you came out with and you actually have a platinum album in your catalog when there was a such thing as a platinum album? I would be nervous to come out like Kanye.
What I'm gonna talk about?
Yeah, like it's. I already have a platinum album, so I'm gonna get what, and they count streams differently and all that stuff. So
it ain't worth it, Miss Seeley. It ain't worth it.
Everything she brings out from her fashion and beauty line, fire.
All the time. Everything.
Bras, panties, the
lipstick, eyeliner, it don't matter.
Makeup, all that stuff. I had to defer to Ricardo on the men's underwear. They seem to be missing part of them. I didn't have any interest. But.
I'm scared myself. I ain't even acknowledging that.
No, you out here. You got you some 50.
I might. If I got it, I don't know. I do. She might. I don't know what I got. She tell me what to put it on. I do.
I ain't nobody fooling with y'all. So look, check it out. So the SEC and what y'all think about Texas and Oklahoma being added to the SEC?
Shout out to our new fans and family in Dallas. This is big for that group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Ricardo.
Well, I think it ain't gonna matter what we think because these people are going to be getting. Yeah, you're talking about a $46 million check that each school would get is going to now be an $86 million check. So I don't think that. It don't really matter.
It don't matter what the hell we think. It is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be.
It's gonna be.
So the Big 12 is worried about the NCAA plotting to dissolve them because as long as the Big 12 exists, Texas and Oklahoma have to pay to leave. But if they dissolve, they can leave before. So right now it's like. We're looking at 2023 is one date and 2025 is another date. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that depends on if the Big 12 exists. Mm-hmm. The Big 12 better get to focusing on the right thing because the NCAA hasn't taken their automatic berth so far. So they should be trying to gobble up schools from somebody else. They're talking with the Pac-12 about a strategic partnership, but that would make them the Pac-Big 20. So I don't know how they would manage that. It would be hard, but they're mad at the SEC. It's not the SEC. It's Oklahoma. Well, no, they're not mad at. They're mad at the SEC. They're really mad at ESPN. Yeah. They are one of the few big conferences that don't have their own separate TV deal. The SEC has their own separate TV deal. The Big 10 up in the Northeast has their own deal, and the Big 12, which should be covering the middle of the country, even though they have a couple of things all over the world, it is so they don't have their own network. So that's why. But the Big 12, the ESPN hasn't given them a network. Mm-hmm. Fox hasn't given them a network. So that's where that's what they should be. They should be mad at themselves. So. They better get the planning and stop getting mad because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
I tell you what, though, on the flip side, Oklahoma and Texas beware. It's one thing to face a Mississippi State or an Auburn in an Orange Bowl or whatever, a Fiesta Bowl, when you got 6 weeks to prepare for them. But they have to face Auburn, then Alabama, then LSU, then Ole Miss. That's gonna be a tough.
That's just a beat down. That is like that's assault and battery.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of it when you talk about the SEC, it's just no off games. Some of the teams in the Big 12, I guess you could say Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt would beat the Kansas of the. So there's 3 or 4 teams in the Big 12. That hasn't won a game against a winning record team in the last 10 years. Yeah. There's no teams like that in the SEC. Yeah. Every team, including Vanderbilt, has a win over a ranked SEC team in the last 5 years. Yeah. So it's just the attrition, the athletes, the physicality, and they're gonna have to get ready for it. But the good thing is, by the time they move, it's gonna be 12 teams in the playoffs, and the SEC is going to get 4 in there every year.
Okay, there you have it. You heard it here. So moving right along, these Olympics. What y'all feeling like? What you looking like? What you thinking? What you like? What's the best part of the Olympics for you so far?
Personally, what's a young lady named McLaughlin?
Mhm.
Goodness, turns out we have. She's part of our church that I'm a part of, and so I'm rooting for her. I'm glad that she was able to win the gold medal. The good part was
Shout out to
track
Dan, and I
and
agree with
field.
that comment.
Yeah,
Sorry about
the
that. Ricardo.
yeah, the good part was the track and field stories, not even just the American ones. I thought that the Norway, when the young man from Norway won the 400-meter hurdles, and I just thought, I was like, wow, I'm not even in the hurdles. And I was really, I just, man,
And let me stick a pin in that.
Mhm.
He won a hurdles, the 400 hurdles,
Mhm.
in a time that would have
Mhm.
qualified him for the semifinals of the Open 400.
Yeah.
So the young man that won the silver is from Georgia.
Yeah.
From
Hey.
Georgia. So shout out to his family.
Right.
And he beat the world record. So the
Mhm.
silver, if he had been running by himself, he would have beat the world record. But the young man who won from Norway beat the world record, the Olympic record, and the world record that he had set a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
So it's a competitive track season.
Yeah.
Both of them are just incredible.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
That young man from Norway, the way he kicked it in at the end, because man, the American from Georgia was on him, and he just pulled. He like hawked him down. He had the longer legs, and then that young man just pushed through. It was an incredible race.
Yeah, and the basketball team, I tell you what, their demise that was reported earlier on, not looking man. I have a love-hate thing for Kevin Durant, but man, he can ball. Man, it just looked like they said, you know what, Kevin Durant, you go beat KD, and we'll play behind you. And by the end of the second half, they were down by 15, and at the end of the game, they were up by 20. I think they won by like 22.
He really turned it on. He really turned it on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For me, you stole one of mine, but the 110 meter the 100-meter hurdle was very special because Camacho Quinn, who's an Afro-Latina who grew up here in the States with a Puerto Rican mom, she represented. Came and the young lady American Harrison came right behind her, and Megan Tapper took the bronze. But the way they were that you saw that magic at the end of the race, they were hugging each other. They were proud of each other because Camacho Quinn, she was the favorite going in. She was, but she pushed everybody to personal records, and it was just a great race to watch. So I like that one. You talked about the 400-meter hurdle for men and women was exciting. The 800-meter, we had the gold and the bronze in a race that we hadn't medaled in years. And the young lady, I think, moved from New Jersey. Raven Rogers from, I'm not sure where she's from, but both Americans. And the young lady from New Jersey is 19 years old. Mm-hmm. And I think the lady who came in second from Great Britain is only 19 or 20 as well. So the future of the 800, but she ran that second 400 after running the first 400 faster than they ran in the 400. Wow. So I'd like to see her in that first 400. Wow. She was flying. Great. Like track and field or not, if you saw her running, it was inspiring. You'd be like, let me go get on this treadmill or this elliptical. So she was stroking that thing out.
I don't know if I'm going to do it like that now. It ain't going to motivate me like that now.
Yeah, what Billingsley just brought up. Man, I was not feeling the Olympics this year, but I tell you what they do a great job of, the stories will draw you in. You end up watching whatever, they start telling you the background of what it took for the athlete to get here. By the time, man, it's like a drama. It's a soap opera. By the end, you'd be like, oh, girl, get that bronze.
and the thing is, they're going to have to figure something out because we live in this Netflix Prime Video world. Right. And I want to see how the ratings come out. But my only challenge is I can't watch 6 hours of the Olympics.
No.
Right? I can't. But what I could do is if I subscribe to this race, that race, I like the long jump. There's races that I like. I don't like to see the steeplechase. I don't want to see the horse dance. And God bless. Before you jump in the comments, God bless America. I'm cheering for all Americans to win all those sports. I don't need to necessarily see that live. And I can tell not a lot of people, when I start seeing the hurricane commercials and the commercials for that spray on foundation, I can see this is not the premium view. This is not the premium viewing. I don't see no Coke and Pepsi commercials, no Budweiser, no truck commercials. But I think they can still keep it that way, but I think they could get more eyes the way our attention span. I subscribe to the races I want to see. Yeah. And then I get a notification on my phone, so I might probably stream it and have it. So they probably get double views because I'm going to switch it to my channel and I'm going to probably watch it on my phone. So I think the streaming content for the Olympics is not there at all. Like you could just stream 6 hours like you could watch it on TV. No, that's not how my bandwidth works. But if you was like, hey, like now, when the Braves game get ready to come on, bam, it'll hit you. And then I have other apps that say, hey, the game is tied at 5 going into the ninth. Oh, let me switch to that.
Yeah.
They got to think about that. So hopefully somebody smart somewhere is figuring it out.
Yeah. So it's funny you said that because I was going to ask, my next question was, what is it that you dislike about the Olympics thus far? What are your dislikes?
And that was it. It's just I don't have the time to watch track and field day. I don't have the time to watch all the basketball games.
Right.
Tell me that it's a close game at halftime. I would have tuned in. But yeah.
Okay.
I would say that. The only thing I love him. God bless America. Listen to me. But listen, the world has caught up.
In there.
I mean, I just looked at Jamaica. What are we gonna do? They good, y'all. They fast. They fast.
Oh, yeah.
First of all,
games.
But they grew up in Atlanta, DC, Chicago. Man, they a lot of them, man. I know them.
I know them.
They fast, man. They are fast, man. So track is just not gonna be what I was like, man, I thought Americans would take that back. We did not.
Yes, we did not.
Basketball, even though it looks like we'll pull this out, man, they're catching up, man. That Luka, man, he's a scary thing. He is scary. He's only 22, so he's gonna be back. You know what I'm saying?
He's just not getting there.
Yeah. Swimming, we represented. Gymnastics, we did pretty good, but I'm telling you guys, it's just, the world is catching up to us. We're not going to always win. And I grew up. I grew up.
That's okay.
Carl Lewis and Michael Johnson.
That's okay with me. I want to see great performances.
Yeah,
I don't. It don't have to be. Yeah.
Outside of that, man, I love the storyline.
That's your favorite part. You like the storyline.
Yes, man.
That's what's up. So we're gonna swing it back around to Atlanta because this is what I've been wanting to talk about today.
Okay.
What's up with the Hawks? Do we need to call them or something? Like, what's up?
Oh, something we ain't about to talk about the basketball.
Big figure.
What's up with the Hawks?
Yeah.
So
let's give our audience outside of Atlanta a little
make it make sense.
So in Atlanta, there's a DJ, a primetime DJ who we've grown up with, right? He's close to our age. He got on the radio.
Atlanta.
Young. He's from Atlanta, and his show is like our show. It's not just like we're not just gonna talk about hip hop music or R&B. We're gonna talk about everything. And so we have a connection with him. Not only that, if you go to another arena in the NBA, which several of us have had the blessed opportunity to do, their MC is like the same boring guy on TV. Let's make some noise for the Bucks. Ryan Cameron he gets the crowd hype. He gets into it. and he gives good basketball commentary. He knows the game.
You know the game, exactly.
He's keeping up with what's going on the court. He's kind of bringing the fans in, right?
Yep.
So that's what Ryan Cameron RC is for us in Atlanta. Yep. And so he has been with the Hawks for a long time. Medical issues, and when he left, and then we came back. So when you're that, he's close to the team. He's close to the players. Close to the ownership. And the team that has the Hawks rights is a radio station, a CBS radio station. They changed their name to Odyssey. And so they're trying to get their people in. Ryan Cameron's on another station that's not a CBS channel. He actually was on a CBS channel, and they was like, oh, they was all about Ryan Cameron at that point. And so they made the decision to replace him with Big Tigger of BT fame, and we all know Big Tigger. I just never heard anything about Big Tigger and sports, nor Big Tigger and the Hawks. And so he's here in Atlanta. He's broadcasting from Atlanta. But as a New Yorker and who started off on DC radio, and he didn't come to Atlanta till recently, the last decade or 5 years or so.
Right.
I never heard him talk about the Hawks one time. So I'm very, very. I'm
confused and I'm pissed. As an Atlantan, I'm pissed because Ryan Cameron is Atlanta. So to bring in, this person, I'm gonna be nice because I don't have nothing against Tigger, like you do.
Anti-Tigger,
right? It ain't nothing against him, but like, dude, you a whole implant.
Mm-hmm. and a lot of times, here's what happens: if ESPN bought, or if another network bought basketball from ESPN, right? Mm-hmm. They're not gonna be like, well, sorry, Mark Jackson. Sorry, Jeff Van Gundy. The top talent is coming with the package. Yeah. And Ryan Cameron is without a doubt a top talent.
Top talent. Period.
And I'm talking about of all the stadiums that I've been to. So that's hard to swallow as an Atlantan and as somebody who plans to go to multiple games next year. Yeah. I know the experience is not going to be the same.
Yeah. I don't want to hear his voice.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. It's gonna sound weird.
It's gonna sound stupid.
Yeah.
Like, who is this? Whose man's is this?
Yeah, I tell you what, this might be one of those ones that they're going to have to revisit. I was even shocked about the vitriol that was received. I was disappointed, but I'm here in Chicago. I hopefully see a game in the near future. But man, listen, we had to bring it up in the show.
Oh, it's all over the internet.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
Y'all gonna talk about it, right?
Yeah. It's all over the internet. It is all. So hopefully, keep on with the rallying and stuff like that. And again, Big Tigger, if you're watching, this is nothing against you. If the Knicks have some games or the Wizards, you should definitely announce those games. But we would prefer somebody who suffered through the pre-Dominique, the post-Dominique, and all that stuff.
Right.
Come on. Oh
yeah. We're going to talk about that, Dan. We talk about that. That's a great segue into our next topic. What you got for us, Diva?
So I was going to ask you guys, how do you feel about the Hawks and the free agency? So what's up with that? How y'all feel? What y'all thinking?
The Hawks did incredibly.
Okay.
They had two missions: to keep John Collins and keep Trey. They also had a couple of more missions, which was, can we get a better backup point guard? And could we get some size? Mm-hmm. And as Dan McLaughlin said, could we somehow keep Atlanta's own, South Gwinnett zone, Lemon Pepper Lou? They pulled all of that off. All of that off. They got DeLon Wright in a trade, who's better than any backup point guard that we've had. And also, since we got Lemon Pepper Lou, it decreases the amount of playing time that we need to give Lou. Mm-hmm. They also killed the draft with two NBA guys, like no doubt NBA guys. So, and then we get the whole offseason and next season with Nate McMillan. I don't know what we could have done better.
No.
Do you think those moves are playoff worthy? Like we can make it to the playoffs and really have a chance this time, the upcoming season.
I think we was going to the playoffs. What do you think, Ricardo?
Oh goodness, yeah. Are we going to the playoffs for sure?
Not going. Are we going to take it all the way?
Let me tell you what this season.
Can we take it all the way?
Let me tell you what this season has taught me.
Okay.
Is to be humble and sit down because
I'm tired of being humble.
I remember when they said that boy Giannis had messed up his ankle. I was like, it's a wrap. I got to come on down. I got to get my flight. It's about to be popping in the A. And I don't think they won another game after that.
I don't think so either.
It was a 2-1. I think they won 3 straight. So after that, I'm just like, you know what? My point is, in the NBA, it's just so many things that can happen. What you try to do is what we've already done in the offseason. You built the roster the way that you feel like it needs to be built. We're too deep at every position. Me and Jimmy were talking the other night. We even like the other guy, Sharif Cooper. We even like our from 1 to 15. I think from top to bottom, I love our roster. I was so glad that we was able to re-sign Collins at the price that we did. We didn't pay him too much. I mean, that's a little bit much for me, but I'll take that. I would like
Okay.
But it is what it is. But I am pleased with our roster. I can't wait to see what Coach Nate does with us next year. And I like our chances against anybody, especially in the East, which is a monster this year. That East is proven. We'll talk about that too.
And so, and I agree with you. I think one of the things is Trey is the leader of this team, and he said, we got to get home court advantage because I think he feels like with the way that his injury happened, if we could have won one of those games at home, we could have maybe won that to extend it long enough for him to get his ankle together. But with that said, I will say it's great to be in a position where we can focus. Because if we can get you're right about that, Gary. If we can get in a position where we have one of those top 3 seeds, I think those top 3 seeds are going to be coveted. We're going to talk about where we think they're going to fall. But I think that it's important to get one of those top 3 seeds because you avoid some of the tough games that might get you injured or last long enough.
Okay. So while we on, Atlanta and doing our thing with Atlanta, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about the NBA and the free agencies. So we're gonna go with the winners first. Who do you think won the NBA free agency?
You gonna go first to me?
No, you go first, Ricardo.
Go ahead, Ricardo.
I know who you're gonna go with, so I'm gonna go with the other team. I'm actually gonna say the Miami Heat did really well. I was shocked at Bucks that did not do everything they could do to make sure that they re-signed PJ Tucker. They got PJ Tucker. They re-signed Duncan Robinson to be able to get. I think right now on paper, the Miami Heat have the best starting 5 as far as defense in the entire Eastern Conference. They got a really good defense. They did
a strong statement.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Okay.
Then, of course, that other team out west that I know Jamil will expound on.
Okay.
I thought they did the best.
I'm going to say the Lakers. The Lakers really hit it hard, and people are saying, "Oh, they got older," and they did. If you ignore the 5 guys they signed under 30, they got what they did was they're not as good as Brooklyn, right? They got Westbrook and Melo. Melo is old. They got Bazemore, so they didn't get. But what they did that Brooklyn was not able to do was back it up with some young guy signings, with Kendrick Nunn, with Taylor Horton Tucker, who everybody thought was gone. Everybody thought that some team was going to swoop in and get him away. And then they got Monk, who was available because really he had some drug issues, but that was a year ago. So he went through the more intensive testing, and we know it's not weed because they don't test for weed anymore in the NBA.
Right.
But we also know he hasn't had any further suspension, so that meant he went this whole season without testing positive. Those guys are 23 and 25. And both of them shot over 40%, just like Wayne Ellington. So it's like we've seen this bring older guys in fail before, but it's failed because the older guys got old. The Lakers can load manage their older guys all the way to the playoffs. If somebody gets hurt, they have it backed up. So I thought they did the best job of doing this, bringing the old guys thing that anybody has done. I also like what the Knicks did because they had some weaknesses and they backed them up. They were able to steal Kemba Walker from a buyout. They re-signed their own guys. They extended Randall. They were able to re-sign Rose, and then they brought Fournier, who they overpaid for, but you knew you was going to have to overpay for him from the Celtics. The only thing about the Knicks that worries me, it feels like they're building a team that could compete better with the Hawks because all the flaws that the Hawks showed them last year. What my concern is, they may not play the Hawks next year, and they didn't make themselves. They made themselves a competitor for that 6 and 7 seed, and so I hope that team, they still have some of the same flaws, and we know that Thibodeau will run a team and players into the ground. So that's my only concern with what the Knicks did. But on paper, they made the right calls.
Let me add one more thing real quick. And I can't believe I'm going to say this because this hasn't been this way in probably about 10 years, but the Eastern Conference has caught up with the Western Conference.
Yes.
The Eastern Conference caught up with the Western Conference. I actually think I like what Brooklyn did. I don't know why it's a brain fart. The guy they just picked up from the Spurs.
Patty Mills
in
the Olympics.
I love what they did. I actually, talking about bouncing back of teams that did things good that I actually do not like, the Golden State Warriors, when they got Otto Porter, I thought that was a key piece. Strong, small forward, very good for what they're asking him to do in the offense. And I think that's what Jameed is referring to and how the Lakers did. It wasn't so much just their pieces, but what they're being asked to do for the team. I think they did really well.
Okay. All right. So that's the good.
Mm.
Who are the losers? Who dropped the ball?
I think the Bucks dropped the ball. Really? I could not believe they did not re-sign. I thought it was imperative that they signed Portis. They did do that. That was good. But I thought not signing PJ Tucker, that's going to hurt him. That's going to hurt him.
I think not having Forbes during the regular season is going to hurt as well. We know that role players, the first thing is, if you have a role player and he shoots 40% during the regular season, he ain't going to shoot no 40% on three-pointers in the playoffs. That's okay. But you need him to shoot that 40% during the regular season to get you to the playoffs. And then maybe he can shoot a 34% in the playoffs. But him being gone, even though they didn't have maybe they're banking on DiVincenzo coming back, but I thought that was a strategic error because there's one thing that's hard to coach, to develop a guy, a non-shooter, into a shooter. He's a fully developed NBA shooter, and he was instrumental in them beating Miami in that first round. So, I don't know about that.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
My losers would be number one, the Pelicans. Zion wants to come to Atlanta, wanted to come to Atlanta. There's a video clip of him at the draft, and he was hitting the Atlanta thing, and he was very disappointed that he didn't come. Obviously, he's from South Carolina, and we all have family that's in South Carolina. We all know people from South Carolina.
Right.
Their main city that they're going to is Atlanta.
Yep.
When they come to go shopping, they're coming to Atlanta.
Party. Whatever.
They come to Atlanta for the weekend. So keep your eye out, bookmark that on the show when he becomes available, Atlanta, but because he will. The Pelicans, they've really dropped the ball. They got nothing for Lonzo Ball. Their team, it was oddly constructed, and it's still oddly constructed. I thought the Bulls made some moves that people thought were nice, but a little overrated. They don't have anybody on their front line. They don't have an actual NBA player in the front court, and they're going to be struggling. I think they're going to be battling down there for the playing game and that AC. And I'm worried about that because they have 3 high usage dribblers, and somebody's going to get frozen out. Kobe White is not going to be happy, so that's going to be a weird mix. And then finally, Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder played himself. You know how their strategies going into the free agency, and the Kawhi strategy is don't say anything to anybody. Dennis Schroeder decided to start making his salary demands through or somebody on his team, and we're looking at like what? And then Magic came out and said, "Hey, Schroeder is not a Laker. He's not a winner. So if anything happens to Magic, CSI needs to definitely investigate Schroeder because his value tanked, and I mean, not only is he not going to be back with the Lakers, I don't know where he lands because there's no money.
Who want him?
I think a lot of teams would want him if he's going to play for 10 or 12 or $15 million a year. He might have to take one of those 1 year, $12, $15 million contracts because there's no money out there. He did it 2 years ago when he went to Oklahoma. He's gonna and he's in that rare position of having to do it again. So
okay, well, that's that in the NBA. So we're gonna move on over to the Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Let's talk about these Braves.
Feeling much better.
I've had an up and down season.
Let's start with the trade line acquisitions. Let's talk about that. Let's go there first.
So,
Jimmy, what you got?
Acuna, our superstar, one of our superstars, and Freddie. First of all, shout out to Freddie Freeman.
Man,
Freddie Freeman is carrying that team, and he is one of my all-time favorite Braves.
Yes.
The Braves front office is not my all-time favorite because he's not signed yet, so we ain't gonna talk about that. But he stepped up when Acuna went down, and we have had a bunch of bench guys sharing time. And so shout out to AA. When I say front office, I don't mean Alex Anthopoulos. He has proven to be a great GM. It's Liberty Media and the 13th ranked payroll with the first ranked expectations. We went out on a budget and acquired. We needed an arm to help our relievers. Hey, what's going on, Gavin? Freeman is balling, playing himself back into the MVP thing. We got the reliever, a power reliever arm to help. We just needed to rearrange. We were like one power reliever arm short, so that was making the guys too much. And then we needed one or two outfielders to replace Acuna. We got 4. So we ended up getting 2 lefties, Jock Peterson, and who else we get?
Jorge Solar.
No, he's a righty. Jock Peterson and the other guy, and Rosario.
Oh, Rosario.
And then we got 2 righties. So those guys combined, Solar probably was playing the best at the time because he started off terrible at the beginning of the season. And he's gotten hot, and he's remained hot. He had some clutch hits. Duvall has won us a game or 2 already. And let me tell you, this is important. We're 2.5 games behind in the division.
Right.
We got to win our division because the National League West, they're playing so good that we're 7 games behind the wild card.
Yeah. Yeah.
James said Peterson is okay, but he's not all that. Listen, we need him to perform. So I'm
gonna wish good tidings on him and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
He's right though. He's atypically he's actually playing out of himself, but keep it up. Keep it up.
And he's in a platoon. You can platoon him because you got 2 righties and 2 lefties. And 2 of them are free agents. In real principle, 3 of them are free agents because one of them has got this weird player option. So it's really just an experiment for this year to try to get us to the finish line. And I appreciate them not throwing up their hands on the season.
Yeah.
Well, they finally got a 2-game winning streak.
Yes.
We have been up and down. So
we're at 500.
Finally.
Oh man, exactly, Chris.
Chris,
Exactly, Chris.
I'm worried. I think we need another plan besides Pache and Waters. I don't have a lot of confidence that they can hit at a major league level. And Pache's defense is so awesome, but you can't hit one something. You can't defend on that.
Hey, Jorge Solar was hitting one something before he got here.
And no, he had improved to over 200.
He did 226.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's that on that, huh?
Yeah.
That's that on that.
Good vibe.
Sounds good. Right. Okay. So we're gonna move along because I got questions. That's why I'm here, because I got questions. I need answers. Okay. So moving on to the NFL, because that's we embarking on the season coming up.
Yeah, they got a preseason game on tonight,
right.
Which is
but so what are your thoughts on the Falcons training camp? What they're looking like? What you thinking?
I'm hearing Kyle Pitts is amazing.
You here for it? You here for it?
I'm hearing he's amazing. The bad news is I'm hearing the exact same thing about Trey Lance in the Niners camp, and I know that Justin Fields is killing it up here because that's all they talk about. So it's a very mixed bag for me. I'm happy we have probably the third best tight end in football already. He's that good. I mean, his catch radius is, you're going to love him. He's off the chain. It's just going to hurt to realize we had the opportunity. I'm going to leave it alone.
Leave that alone.
Leave it alone.
Leave that alone.
Inboxing.
I would say the guys that we need to look good, from what I hear, they're all looking good, and that's great. The defense it seems like it's coming along, but we haven't played real games yet. We haven't even played another team yet. So some of that stuff is coming out as propaganda, but it's two things that impress me.
Okay.
One, every player that they interview says the same thing. They said they are being held more accountable.
Oh,
hey, Jaime. Shout out to T-Suds Production. Our producer, Jaime, just popped in to say hello. Thank you for joining us. He has a busy schedule. He can meet all your production needs. If you have a podcast that you're trying to get off, he will take you from nuts to soup to nuts to bolts. I don't know what the stand is.
Okay.
He'll do you right.
He'll do you right.
He'll get you right. But the thing they keep saying is this new regime, Arthur Smith is holding them accountable. Every player at every different position. And so that kind of tells you, like, when you wonder what went wrong between my expectations and what happened to the Falcons, it sounds like the players are saying it wasn't enough accountability up there. That's what
that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting.
The second thing is Arthur Smith made a comment, and it was a Bill Belichick-like cocky comment, but I like that because our previous coaches have been a little team-friendly. Soft might be a word you might use. He said, listen, it's not about how much I know. It's about how much they can absorb. So translate that. What does that sound like to you, Diva? And then I'll tell you what it sounds like to me.
I mean, hey, it's like, it ain't what I know, it's what they can do.
Yeah.
What can you absorb to make it happen? Don't ask me what I know.
Yeah, he sounds uber confident. I've seen the tape. He definitely knows what he's doing. One of the things that the pre-snap motion reads, that basically, guys moving on the offense.
That really helps the quarterback. That really, and so, and not to take your point, Ricardo, but I got to jump in right there because you just talked about one of the secrets to NFL football. In the last 2 years, our offensive quarter, we were 31st in pre-snap motion, and so even though we had pretty good, not great offensive numbers, but when we had that 2016 season, Kyle Shanahan used a good deal of motion, but nobody but one team, Matt Canada, use more pre-snap motion than Arthur Smith. What that does is it makes the defense declare stuff. They can't hide their coverages and stuff as well as they can. And when you have a freak athlete like Kyle Pitts playing an undefined position, is he a wide receiver? Is he the biggest wide receiver in the NFL, or is it the fastest tight end in the NFL? Or is it the biggest catch rated slot? I think the answer is yes to all that. But when you're putting guys in motion, you create favorable mismatches for not just Kyle Pitts, but the other guys, right? And so I'm excited that Arthur Smith believes in motion. And so I think you're going to see our offense be able to do better in the red zone, because if you come out in the red zone and line up against regular NFL defenses, they're going to win. That's why we kick so many field goals. I know our quarterback is conservative in the red zone. He doesn't turn the ball over down there, but you're not helping him out if you're not doing anything to confuse the defense. Arthur Smith play calling and red zone calling is awesome. And the stats show that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sick of our quarterback, but go ahead.
In layman's terms, to our newer fans, what Jameet is basically saying is your offense is giving the defense something else to think about. The truth is, the dirty secret, that's actually my secret. The dirty secret is there's not a play that hasn't been ran that these guys don't know about. But because of the way options and these motions work, now you only have 3 or 4 seconds to think. You have no idea. Hey, why is he going there? What's that?
Right.
And you can figure it out.
They came out of
have time to adjust.
We know
there's no adjustment period.
Wait a minute. What is he doing over here?
Right.
Yep. And it's just something else to think about. It makes you say, okay, you know what? I tell you what it does. It takes a guy who, let's say a pretty decent running back, and you give him a half second ahead of you where you were actually thinking and that block's already came, and now you got to work to shed the block before you get to touch the running back. Oh my, he's already got 3 yards in the hole.
Right. You're the line, and you're like, watch him, bam, and then somebody knock you on your butt.
Right.
But if you're lined up in the same thing and they go, there's no motion, they're like, oh, we saw this on film. They're going to run this play. And then you run this play, and the coverage is tight.
So the expectation for the Falcons, we're going to say, is I'm today, right now, on August the 5th, at 8:55. What is your prediction for the Falcons season, the upcoming season? Ricardo.
Out of all of the teams to do this is exactly the hardest one for me. I have, listen, my wife, who is from Chicago, who could care less about sports, much less football, much less football outside of the state of Illinois. When we lost in that, that event that I don't speak of in 2015.
We have one too, so go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm a grown arse man. And I was darn near in tears. So after 2016, I just was like, man, I got to figure this out, man. I got to learn how to be a little bit more of a casual fan, because I get so in depth with the I just want to enjoy the process. So I can tell you what I think the Saints going to do, the Panthers going to do. I think they will do better. I love Gavin Sales saying 10 wins. I want to say 10 wins.
Okay. Okay, Gavin. I like that.
I'm one of those guys. You know what it is? My secret is I tell Jameet this all the time. In the NFL today, everyone's really about the same. A field goal or punt, a block punt, a fumble at the key time is a difference between 10 and 6, 10 and 6 and 10, or 10 and 7, 7 and 10. The thing is, I think that what I really am liking, and what Jameet had alluded to, is, man, we're not going to be out coached on offense and on defense. I like our chances to get 10 good, honest wins. I'm going to go with Gavin Sales, and I'm going to say 10 wins also.
Okay.
I say somewhere between 7 and 10 wins, but a much tougher. Yeah. I mean, a much tougher team, and 8, 9, 10, 9 wins. I think a 9-8 record, 17 games. I think 9-8 gets you in the playoffs. So
Okay.
I think if we could be competitive down the stretch, and we'd definitely be better coached. James, 8-8 is impossible because there's 17 games. The player, there's 17
He's just
games.
waiting to tell somebody that. He's
Right.
just waiting to tell somebody.
Because 8-8 is going to be different than 8-9.
Right.
So yeah, I'm hoping a 9-8. I take a 9-8. I would take a 9 because I think that gets you in the playoffs. That's what Chicago got in there with last year.
All right.
Well, once again, we are so grateful for each and every one of you guys for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Diva. Thank you, Diva.
Yes,
for keeping us straight. Well, you didn't keep me straight. You kept Ricardo straight.
Anyway, please give us an ad on the WeDatSports.com YouTube channel, WeDatSports Twitter. We thank you guys so much for your time. We thank you so much for the new follows.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Going over 1,000 views was great. We thank you.
Thank you.
So once again, for myself, Paul Stever, and the incomparable Jamie, the professor, I say peace up, A-Town down.
A-Town down.
All right. Thank you for joining us.